Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Guess the WN8, where my viewers submit games and I have to guess their stats based on nothing but their gameplay. If I get within 250 of their WN8 or 2% of their wins, then I win, and I don't have to give them gold. I have a fairly good hit rate on that, which is nice. With a paid replay here, you can guarantee that your replay appears in an episode by using the link in the description and submitting me a replay. Anyway, we got turbo events and a llama here. The llama and the turbo, I understand. The vents, perhaps not so much, because this tank has limitations, particularly in the accuracy and aiming time, which might well justify the use of some more gun-related equipment, or gun-specific equipment, let's say. Now, we got a 40 kilometer per hour top speed, 10 degrees of gun depression. I think it goes down to 6 over the rear. But what we should note about the Iron Arnie while we're here is that it's all about spaced on it. It's essentially like a super Pershing with a tad more mobility. Anything black that you can see on the tank is essentially spaced on there. So when you're looking at it, to shoot at it, just shoot where you don't see this black armor, and you're pretty much gonna pen. So if you can avoid that, there's hit zones there, and of course you can go for the cupola as well. But if you're shooting black areas, you're probably not gonna have a good time unless you have very good APCR pen or you're much higher tier. So, excuse me. We got 10 degrees of gun depression to work with on these range lines, which feels very nice. And the Iron Arnie, when top tier, is substantially threatening. But let's call back to what I was talking on earlier, that being the gun lacking capability. This is a gun that does 320 average damage, and this is at tier 8, but its accuracy is 0.44, which is very, very poor. 0.44 is poor, but combine that with a 3-second aiming time, and this gun is gonna miss shots if you challenge it at any kind of moderate distance, which is why I think Vents is a poor choice over something like Vert Stabs or improved aiming for this particular vehicle. We'll have to see how it pays off. Worth noting that, as we can see there, the base pen of this tank is pretty damn exceptional at 230, which is really good for a tier 8 medium. Premium with heat goes up to 290. Oh, 300. Pleasant enough, most certainly not in the territory of the 416, but the 416 is without a doubt in a league of its own. Now, we didn't see any huge adjustment to elevation that we're playing here after taking a shot in the side from the KPZ, which is, oh god, which is a little alarming. You'd like to have seen an adequate response. KPZ is coming up the middle. That is an isolated tank right now, so we should counterplay that right now. The enemy literally have nothing that can be playing in defense of it, apart from Canonia Yak Panzer 1F5, and we would have known about that by now because of impact on the platoon mate. So we can just counterplay over onto this right now, so that's what I hope to be seeing. Because taking the MiG right now does bolster the defense of this flank a little bit. Not that it's insecure right now, but the enemy can't YOLO down here. Because it's a multi-level engage. We've got an SC-101 and M1 at the back. Not the optimal tank to have in that position, just due to gun depression. But we got our Panther II, SB-1C. We got these guys sat here. Like, they aren't pushing this, so it's not a threat at all. How do the enemy team threaten this flank? Well, it's over-pushing mid, right? It's getting a load of people here. They're poking up. They secure this position, get shots into the side, combined with a bit of pressure over here, and maybe they can break through, start pushing people up to the church, disrupt this position, push people from here up to the mark when you disrupt this position, and that's how you lose the flank. flank, right? So holding the mid right now is really important, which is why I'd like to see that overpush onto the KPZ, who is isolated right now. Because these guys, although yes, you might find some damage, they're not threatening for the outcome of the game like losing the mid would be. So, we shall have to see. Come on, clean up mid, please, please, please. Okay, come on, overpush, overpush. Don't just sit here, you get spotted and you don't go. Oh, God, okay. If you were gonna get spotted, you should have just went over and spanked him in the booty. Like, look, that shot, you were completely exposed and you didn't get shot. Just go. Okay, super pushing. 230 base pen, hit the space diamond, not going to pen there. When I aim low and left or high and left on the super pushing. Gun gets knocked out. That ain't going to help the .44 accuracy. Are you really, bitch? Thank you, okay. I wonder, hey, let's sate the curiosity. What is the accuracy with a broken gun? Let's have a look. Broken gun, 0.84. Wow, that's like GW100 accuracy. That is amazing. If you hit that shot, play the goddamn watch on you. Okay, better shot. Why aren't we taking mid right now? The entirety of the mid is completely clear. They can't win by being over here. All these guys are tantamount to useless if they don't have access and pressure from the mid. Go up the mid and kill these guys, or go up the mid, poke about, see if you can find some TD information, poke around here. If you don't see any threat, then poke up by this lock, use this bush, put one shot or two in to anyone back around here. Maybe you can spot these super pushing. We can get a bit of information. KPZ is dead at this point. We know the Super Hellcat was out there, so this area is actually completely clear. So going over here, coming up behind these guys, and then pushing up this way, disrupting the Super Hellcat and getting position behind is incredibly viable right now. We're way too passive. And I mean, this would be passive even if you were solo, but you're in a platoon. You surely have some manner of communication with your platoon mate. So use your hit points, get together, and take land. Take that mid. Now that we are a one shot, we want to be aware of what hit us before, which is that T-34 thigh angle. Let's inspect it, shall we? Yes, come on, when you locate, push elsewhere. Wonderful, okay, okay. So right now, for the time being, we've got what? Assumed presence. I did a short on this, which I will link in the description if I can remember, but assumed presence is basically when the enemy team are playing against you when you're no longer there. So this occurs from a while after you've been spotted and you relocate. The enemy is playing against your assumed position for a certain period of time. And it's why when relocating from a flank, you want to take a route that doesn't get you spotted, because you can still impact the flank while not actually being there. So ideally, we don't want to get spotted here until we have a really good reason to do so, like a kill shot or damage shot. We want to lead with the platoon mate here. He's on more health. We should be going closer to the Ignite side here. There's no reason to risk being spotted by an engagement that you can't immediately clean up. Like, you can be spotted by the LTG out here at this angle, and there's really no need for that. You should go on the inside. Because, let's face it, if you want to get spotted by that LTG out there when you're on high ground here and you're in a secure position, right? So let's keep going. Alright, and high ground on this Cheeto SP, gotta feel really good right now. Kill secure on the E75 should be picked up with a HE shell most likely. Intuition a HE? Why are we stopping? Intuition? I mean, okay. I guess your platoon mate said, I've got it. Fine stuff. Cheeto SP. Wow. Surprised that connectors actually don't go forward. Literally no need to. These guys threaten nothing. They literally can't do anything. So we don't want to risk taking a side shot if the Super Hellcat's moved up. Very unlikely, but possible. So why risk it for enemies that literally achieve nothing? What you can do right now, if you want to, is you can go to this lock. What does this do? Well, it keeps you further out in the distance of the Super Hellcat, gives you cover from the Super Hellcat, and it also counters the only counterplay that the enemy team can manifest. If they go up here, they're between this Iron Arnie and the T-29, and they're just gonna die, right? But if the T-29 gets into the cap behind the house, maybe, or he pushes up over here, these guys go back and down. Being behind this lock covers that avenue and makes sure they can't do that either. The only thing that they could do would be go back to base, and they'd die anyway, so. Alright, we're punishing them. I mean, we can, but there's no real need to. And that's one of the reasons that you don't prioritize low. What are you... Oh, what is that overcommitment? Jesus. I mean, the LTG could have murdered you with 2 shots. You got 0.44 accuracy. Look, above 0.4 accuracy, expect your shots to miss. That is what they do. Why are we at... What? Just stop on this corner and aim. Oh. Okay, so the reason I dislike this in its entirety, basically, is because of the SDA1, right? The middle of maps, generally speaking, are very important because they allow flexibility to either flank, right? Quickest route to a particular position is a straight line, and the quickest way of ensuring that you're flexible to any position, any game state that might occur, is to be in the middle of the map. It's why when on a new map that you've never played before, your default should be to look for high ground in the middle of the map. If you can achieve those 2 things, you can pretty much guarantee that you're in a good position. So, right now, we both abandoned higher ground for lower ground for tanks that were insignificant at the same time as high ground was secured by the enemy. Like, conceptually, it's really bad. This is how you throw games that formerly weren't in the balance. Because these guys have no assertive power. Absolutely none. If you keep high ground, they have no opportunities. Right? It's like when you're winning in chess. You want to hold on to that advantage. Right? So, let's see, because now we have the unenviable task of retaking a high ground, relatively powerful position, which is troublesome. We don't want to put ourselves in that position if we can avoid it. And right now, I'd be aiming behind me. Why? Do I think the LTG is going to appear behind us? No. But it is possible. Is it possible for a tank to appear exactly where we're aiming? No. You always want to have your gun pointed in a position of potential relevance, right? Even if you're in a very relatively mobile tank that can turn and acquire target relatively quickly, the Iron Arnie's not horrible in that regard. We should be aiming behind us on this corner, because we're in a threatened position right now. 2 shots from the LTG, we're dead. It is impossible for the Super Hellcat to suddenly appear like that. I mean, it's not impossible. If he's camoed up in here, he could be there. But, I mean, let's face it, he's not, because we would have been spotted. But it's essentially impossible for the Super Hellcat to appear there, or any threat from the enemy team to appear in any of this land relative to where we're aiming, right? It is possible, though unlikely, for the LTG to appear right there. So that's where we should be aiming. At least until we get into this sort of position where we turn and aim at the STB-1. But we always want to have our turret pointed in the direction of potential or likely incoming fire at every stage of the game. It's why when you move to a flank, you lock off your turret aimed at a particular direction, so you can focus on driving but still have your effective armor pointed towards the direction of enemy fire. And that prudent strategy does not disappear at the middle game state. Right, so fortunately, I'm not entirely sure why the STA-1 went back there. Maybe it was worried about being overpressured. He really should have kind of kept the mid and used this position to try and disrupt it. I guess maybe he didn't know where the SC-101 was, but poor play by the STA-1. It's a very flexible tank. Actually quite a pleasant tank, the STA-1. I quite enjoyed it. Very similar to the STA-2. T-29 start helping. I mean, I can't complain an awful lot about the T-29. He pushed the beach, and that's enough of a sin. Okay, so right now we can claim the wide position. There's no this Iron Arnie really isn't threatened by much there, so we don't need to stand and support him. We can go to... Ooh, can we? So, conceptually, I like going to this position because it sets up a multi-level engage with the T-29 and the SE when it gets up. But were we to go here, there's a potential kill shot from a Super Hellcat, so maybe that would be a bit ambitious in my book. So, push up mid, perhaps. Patience, patience, patience. There's no reason that we can't push up to the lock ahead of us here. There's a lock kind of in this position. Be a more effective position to be in. Potential cover on the left, as well as still effective shots on the 274 and people like that. And like, the enemy aren't going to really push this. So, being stagnant here is not particularly useful, I feel like. This is very sort of standard play. It feels like 50% gameplay, to be honest. Like, I think my estimate is going to be sort of 50% around there. Okay, we are using this position with a relative degree of safety. That spot does tell us something. What does it tell us? It tells us that the Super Hellcat is in this exact bush. I mean, almost exactly. He can't be in the one back there because he didn't have the angle, so might be worth, while we're reloading after this shot, just pinging the bush exactly where the Super Hellcat is and just communicating that to the team. Prudent strategy to get into the habit of doing. Wait, hold up! Okay, there's me talking bollocks in HD. What the heck? Okay, in fairness to me, that's a really odd position for... I guess at this stage of the game, yeah. Falling back to that range lane, wow. Okay, I was talking absolute nonsense, chat. I did not see that spot coming at all. 320 alpha damage on the Iron Arnie. Maybe get a kill here, be nice for... Oh, we do have the BIA. Never mind. Okay. And these guys should be able to finish it up. Lovely. Okay. So, it feels very average. Sorry to say that about such a unique tank, but it feels around sort of 51 to me. The passivity, there wasn't any damage hunger that I saw. There was a lot of stagnancy in the positions. There was relocation with a platoon mate, but a lot of pressuring should have been done earlier. There was basic sort of relocation and pushing a weak flank, but it happened very, very late. There was no understanding of sort of the power that you represented on the 9-0 line, right? The enemy were over there with, 6, 7 tanks for how long? Basically this entire game, and they didn't push it. They literally did not win it. And that's the power of a multi-level engagement, especially against a linear attack. And that's why I was talking about the enemy team essentially diversifying their tangents that they were attacking via. By going into the middle. This is always what I talk about when talking about countering a multi-level engagement, is you have to do it non-linearly. So you have to go around, you have to spread out the angles of attack. Multi-level engagements are very, very good against linear pushes. So when you saw the enemy attacking linearly into like 1, 2, 3 stages of a multi-level engage, that's the point where you say, okay, I may be able to get damage here, but they're not going to win from this position. So at that point, you look at the map and say, okay, how can I advance my game state? What can I do? What do the enemy team threaten? Right? And how can I counter what they do threaten? If they don't threaten anything, how can I advance my position? Those are the kind of things that you want to be thinking about if you want to elevate your gameplay. I would recommend checking out my Learn World of Tanks playlist, because there's a lot of details. The Quick Tips playlist can also help you out with some nice techniques. I am going to note down what I think, and I'll be back to you shortly. Okay, I just recorded this, but I forgot to switch the thing, so you couldn't see anything. My estimate was 51.77 and 1,321 WN8. So I had minor heart flutter when I saw the 7-7 in the WN8, and I had to look down because I thought I did the 7-7 at the end of the WN8, but it was at the end of the win rate. I almost fucking nailed the recent, but the overall stats is what we look for. And yeah, pretty damn close on that. So happy with that as an estimate. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Links to the next and previous episodes will be in the description. We release all of these episodes early for channel members. We got I think 6-7 episodes out early, so if you want to catch yours as soon as it's uploaded, you can consider becoming a channel member. On the outro screen, there will be links to playlists that you may enjoy as well. I encourage you to check those out. Do subscribe for more content from me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Humanity peaks at our community manager. He is mentally jacked and strengthening our backs just like the corner weight on the turret of the challenger. Cause if we find ourselves in a crappy mood, you will brighten our day just through your attitude. Steven and Peabody, badass crew. So please take the song as a token of my gratitude.